We all know that when the cameras are rolling, the actors and crew involved in making our favorite movies are put to work, but that doesn't mean it's serious business all the time. In fact, there are plenty of laughs, secrets, and surprises that are captured on set that shows a different picture. Characters that we may loathe may seem like your best friend in one shot, and other pictures reveal that same creature may not be that frightening. Let's pull the veil back and look at these behind-the-scenes photos. As we await the next film from Christopher Nolan, the highly anticipated Tenet, we can at least look back on his older stuff. One of these movies is, of course, Inception, his follow-up to the Dark Knight trilogy. The film was a mind-bender, to say the least. Nolan introduced us to a cast of thieves who are tasked with planting an idea deep within the subconscious mind. To do this, they need to navigate the dream world. Christopher Nolan was pretty adamant about using as many practical effects as possible for the movie, and it shows. While the hallway sequence was done with a rotating set, Nolan applied a different technique for when Cobb introduces Ariadne to the dream world. Leo and Ellen Page can be seen on a giant scaffolding set, surrounded by green screen. This instance is when the street suddenly becomes vertical, forcing the duo to walk upwards instead of forwards. So while there is CGI trickery at work here, it's cool to see that some of the most visually striking moments are still based on physical sets. Try picturing this picture next time you watch the movie. Many of us simply adore the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It has it all. A great story, great characters, effects, the list goes on. For a series that debuted in 2001, it looks pretty great too. That's because the movie used an awful lot of practical effects to bring Middle-earth to life, which might explain why it looks better than the CGI-heavy Hobbit films. While those films used a lot of computer trickery to get the job done, Lord of the Rings did things old school, and nowhere is that more apparent than within the Hobbits themselves. To get the Hobbits to appear small, body doubles, camera angles, and unique sets help make the Hobbits seem smaller than they were. In reality, they are not actually that short. In fact, based on this photo of Dominic Monaghan, Billy Boyd, and Ian McKellen, we can see that Merry and Pippin are actually taller than Gandalf.
Fool of a took.
In order to trick you, the Hobbits may be standing much further away from the camera in order to appear smaller than their human counterparts. Here's Peter Jackson illustrating the illusion for us. The 25th James Bond movie is hitting the big screen soon, and that gives us the perfect reason to look back at some of the older flicks. More specifically, we're looking at Goldeneye.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
This behind-the-scenes photo shines a light on how things used to be done when it came to making the movies. And that was miniature sets. Instead of actually going to a remote and desolate location or paying for expensive CGI backgrounds at the time, big budget movies would pay a prop master to create scaled landscapes that would look more imposing in the camera due to the draw distance and scope, but would actually be tiny in person. This pic from the set of Goldeneye shows the snowy and desolate Russia coming to life. Attention to detail is paramount, and we can fully believe that the final shot in the movie is actually Russia. That being said, making it snow across the little mountains looks like a fun way to cap off a massive project like that. There are terrors on the big screen that continue to haunt us to this day. Creatures of the night, aliens from outer space, and supernatural beings invaded our nightmares growing up after seeing these famous monsters. But once you pull back the veil a bit, they're not so scary. Let's take a look at some of them now. Freddy Krueger was the chief antagonist in the Nightmare on Elm Street films.
Come to Freddy.
An evil spirit, he can literally haunt your dreams, which causes Nancy to force herself to stay awake, causing mass panic and desperation. Freddy's charred face and razor hands have made him an iconic figure in the genre and one of the spookiest characters of all time. You may think that that's just Robert Englund's default mode, the man who played Freddy, but this snapshot paints a different story. Englund can be seen here jamming to his Walkman, taking it easy with the very characters he's supposed to be haunting in the movie. See, he's not that scary. Right. Yeah, he's still a bit scary. Speaking of things that go bump in the night, let's pull the veil back on one of the scariest creatures of all time. We're of course referring to the Xenomorph from Ridley Scott's Alien movie. The alien is a symbol of fear in cinema. This creature leaves a bloody mess wherever it goes and stalks its prey no matter where it is. With superior strength and size, it almost always gets the advantage. But seeing how the original movie came out at the end of the 70s, the alien isn't a motion captured suit. In fact, it's simply a man in a suit. Here's Balaji Badejo wearing parts of the xenomorph costume. Now, imagine him stalking Ripley or some of the most iconic shots from the film, and bear in mind that it's an actor in a rubber suit. Does it take away from the movie at all, or reinforce all the hard work that went into bringing it to life? Let us know in the comments what you think. Is the alien better as a CGI creation, like in Covenant, or did the tangible suit do it for you? This particular on-set photo actually shows quite a bit of movie magic for a series that's pretty heavy on magic. Naturally, we're talking about the Harry Potter films here. There is a photo that features Rupert Grint's Ron Weasley sitting and laughing on top of a broomstick at Private Drive. Seeing as there are no such thing as broomsticks, we get to see just how the props are suspended from the ground with a rider. Not only that, but we get to see that in the later films, the production moved to a closed set rather than using a real house in Berkshire, England. While it must have been cool for the first movie to see your house on the big screen, the horde of fans taking pictures of your house must have gotten annoying. So in order to have more control over the set and to allow homeowners to have some peace and quiet, a duplicate set with a green screen background was used to recreate Private Drive. Let's jump back to the spooky and the terrible for an instance and have a look at Silence of the Lambs. It remains the only movie of its genre to win Best Picture at the Oscars, while Anthony Hopkins picked up Best Actor with just 16 minutes of screen time. Aside from a chilling and unsettling performance from Hopkins, part of what made Hannibal Lecter so memorable was the mask he had to wear. The muzzle is used to prevent Hannibal from biting anyone while being transported, which in itself is creepy enough. But while the mask was used as a prop to make sure the character wouldn't be biting anyone, the real Anthony Hopkins still had to eat. But considering he was in a straitjacket and a muzzle mask, he couldn't exactly pick up a fork and chow down. This shot captures director Jonathan Demme hand-feeding Anthony Hopkins some french fries through the mask. Demme looks like he's having a blast feeding Hannibal Lecter, while Hopkins is likely wishing he could just do it himself. Too bad there were no fava beans, huh? Am I right? Disney is in the middle of remaking their classic films into live action, and the next two entries will be focusing on that. Even though they're considered live action, a lot of CGI trickery was used to bring elements found in the classic animations to life. In the 2017 remake of Beauty and the Beast, there needed to be a beast to act opposite Emma Watson. While Watson was there on set as Belle, the studio needed to do a bit of work with Dan Stevens to get him to look like the Beast. Stevens wore a motion capture suit to bring the Beast to life, but the suit in question was a bit more unique. It was shaped in such a way as to make Stevens seem larger and bulkier than he normally was. He would walk on springs under his feet while his mocap suit made him look like the Michelin Man. That suit does not look ideal for the dance number the two are about to do, but the larger frame does allow for eye contact between Watson and Stevens to be more realistic. From Beast's castle, let's segue to the plains and trees of the Jungle Book, or at least that's what we all likely thought we'd see in the behind-the-scenes photos for the movie. As we know though, this is not the case, as the film was entirely filmed with CGI effects. The only non-digital being in the movie was the lead actor, Neil Setti as Mowgli. Literally, everything else was animated.
The bare necessities of life have come to you.
And we mean everything. Usually with CGI-heavy productions, things like rocks are used on set for the characters to interact with. This was not the case for the Jungle Book. All the rocks, ledges, hills, and even leaves were coated in blue material on set. Yep, there were blue screen appropriate leaves. They didn't even use prop leaves. Director Jon Favreau would take this aesthetic to the next level when it came time to remake The Lion King, which used real-time VR rendering. Do you think this type of filmmaking is the future of the genre, or does it ring hollow for you? Let us know in the comments below, please. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the good folks at Lucasfilm were hard at work building one of the greatest sequels of all time. The Empire Strikes Back was considered to be bigger and better, and the plot twist at the end of the movie is considered one of the best in movies.
I am your father.
It's at that point where Luke decides he'd rather take his own life than work with Vader and falls down the ventilation shafts on Cloud City. Of course, Lucasfilm wasn't about to throw Mark Hamill down any sort of shaft. The camera for these particular shots show a lot of Luke from the waist up. Any lower, and the illusion may have been ruined. Since Hamill had to drop off, the set is actually built atop a series of mattresses designed to catch Mark as he fell. It's really not a big drop, and the amount of soft mats down there ready to catch him ensure that he'll be okay. Still, the scene is a testament to amazing sets and practical work that goes into bringing these movies to life. Which photo sticks out for you the most? And do any change the way you see a particular scene or character? What's your favorite movie on this list and why? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in your playlist every day. Thanks for watching.